Good evening, Style Esports fans, and welcome to a Void matchup between Team Black Blossom and Caliber Esports. We apologize for the late start. Caliber Esports was a little bit late to the game today, and as such, they have forfeited the first game in the series, as well as 3 bans in this second game. I am Jarl Carl, joined by Baymax. How's it going, sir?
I'm doing pretty good. We had a little bit of a rocky start to the night, as you were saying, but we got both teams here now. We are going to get at least one good game out of this, and it should definitely be an interesting game because Caliber Esports, they haven't actually played a real match so far, I don't think. They've got 3 wins technically under their belt, but one was a bye, and I think the other 2 are both forfeits. So that means that they technically have a 3-0 record, but this would be their first real game, and they're playing their first real game against Team Black Blossom, who are currently undefeated in the Void group. So they've got a lot to prove. This is a big game. Would definitely expect Team Black Blossom to come out on top, but anything is possible because we haven't really seen Caliber play yet. So.
Yeah, especially with that 1-game lead, of course, that should help out Team Black Blossom here. But yeah, like you said, haven't seen a whole lot of Caliber, and we didn't see a whole lot of them for a while as they were a little bit late too. So thought that trend might continue as we get into Champ Select here. This game was pro-drafted, so we'll be zooming through this, although I'm not entirely sure Caliber Esports, they're either not in order or they didn't get the memo about pro-draft, because I don't think we're going to be seeing Nautilus Jungle.
Probably not. You know, there was some discussion in the lobby over whether the teams were both totally familiar with what Pro Draft was, so hopefully they'll get that figured out. I think maybe they're just trying to pull one over on us, or maybe it is Nautilus Jungle. Who knows? Could be. I've seen it before. It's certainly not the worst thing ever. What I'm most interested about with this draft so far, though, is drum roll, please. Team Black Blossom have a Zac Yasuo combination, which is maybe not quite as infamous as Gragas Yasuo, but still a very strong 2v2, or a very strong engaged threat. And there's still 2 picks left to be picked here for Team Black Blossom, so they might opt to go with even more knockups depending on what we see. You know, there's plenty of supports that are really good with knockups right now, so we'll see what happens. But at any rate, even if no more knockups come through, Zac Yasuo is still really, really scary.
Yeah, for sure. That combo is pretty dangerous. Any like really consistent knockup with Yasuo is just a pretty good combo. And Zac with so much range, you know, even if he misses that slingshot, right, he can still knock you up with Let's Bounce, that ultimate coming through. So could be a bit of a problem there for the Caliber side of this.
They
one.
left Ezreal Yumi open. He could pick Yumi here.
If it gets rolling, the propheticness of Pro Draft tells me that's not going to happen, and it in fact does not. So no Yumi, and it looks like, yeah, they are now changing those champions, kind of going against the whole point of the Pro Draft.
But I like the Lulu pick. I like the Lulu pick a lot here. I like it so much. It's an added knockup for Yasuo, right? Helps Donald Trump in the top lane. Also, or in later team fights, but also we are on patch 10.11 now, which means AD carries in general are stronger. Almost every AD carry got buffed. I think Varus might actually be an exception to that, but almost every other AD carry got buffed, which generally means that enchanters are better. That's sort of an indirect buff for enchanters like Lulu or Janna or Nami. So Lulu has been seeing a lot of play lately, and I think people have been kind of sleeping on her for a little bit, but they're almost sort of discovering like, hey, Lulu is actually really, really good. So I'm excited to see what Pinnock can do on the Lulu. I'm excited to see Curious Veil and the Varus as well. I think Lethality Varus is probably not as strong anymore as it used to be, just because I think part of the reason Lethality Varus was strong was because other AD carries were so much weaker, and there have been buffs that have come through. Although Ezreal, again, I think one of the few AD carries that didn't really get buffed in patch 10.11. They mostly focused on crit AD carries, trying to bring other AD carries back into the meta that haven't been for a while. You know, get Ezreal out, get Varus out, get Kai'Sa, Jinx, Kalista, Vayne back in, basically. So, interesting bot lane.
Absolutely. Both of those champions, actually, Varus and Ezreal, received the health buffs, so the kind of general buffs coming through, but they were not part of the Lucian Callista Vayne Tristana combo. They received direct buffs to their abilities, and neither of those champions really build Zeal items, which also got buffed. Those movement speed buffs coming through in the patch. So definitely a little bit stronger in comparison to the rest of the map, but not really any difference in strength compared to each other now in the lane. So should see a relatively even match in the bot lane. Neither of these champs really hard counter the other one. They don't really want to fight each other. Ezreal more looking to just farm, although with the Nautilus, they may be looking for a little bit more of an engagement style here, just because he does, want to go in. Nautilus not known for his farming.
I mean, Nautilus, it's kind of funny actually, because I'm kind of surprised these supports aren't swapped around. I think Lulu is pretty good into Varus, especially lethality Varus, because you have those shields you can throw up in front of those piercing arrows. And I think Nautilus is generally pretty good against Ezreal, because you can drop that depth charge on his face, and it doesn't matter if the arcane shifts. The depth charge is gonna hit him, and then you can follow it up with a dredge line and still permanent CC him. So I'm wondering if the Nautilus was sort of to keep it from going over into Black Blossom's hands, and maybe vice versa for the Lulu. Maybe.
Yeah, who knows? We'll find out how it works out for him in the lane. Nautilus definitely can wreak a lot of havoc on Varus. Even though he will have those shields from Lulu coming through, you can still keep him in place for quite a long time, and that can interrupt his auto-attacking if he decides to go on hit, which I would probably expect in this game up against 3 pretty full tanks. I think the lethality would just be a little bit wasted in this one, or stop him from arrowing, if he's just getting knocked up CC'd constantly. So I think the Nautilus is a reasonably good pick. You can also try to interrupt the Yasuo. It's a little bit harder to do since Yasuo moves around so quickly, but we'll see if Raging Monk is able to land that onto the Yasuo here. Decent amount of shielding. Also, if Lulu decides to throw that shield onto the Yasuo, that could be a very scary carry, especially if he's able to block the ultimate from Syndra. So watch for that interaction coming through later on in the game. Both the ultimates from Syndra and Ezreal can be blocked by that wind wall. So look for Sir Donald Trump to be going for that block there. And there's just not a lot of damage without those 2 ultimates on the side of Caliber Esports. So I think they may have some trouble taking out the front line and even just killing the Yasuo when he goes in if those ultimates do get blocked.
Okay, I'm calling it right now. It's gonna be a full AP Amumu. I'm calling it. Tank Amumu I think is generally better, but with this lineup, I actually don't hate AP Amumu. Or at least maybe sort of mixed damage, like some AP items, but some tanky, maybe like an Abyssal Mask or something. But I think that AP Amumu can be good, and one thing that it does excel at is it's a consistent magic damage threat with the tiers. I forget what the ability name is called, but how Amumu is as a consistent damage source when you build magic damage. So he's actually pretty good at shredding through tanks, which, as you mentioned, Black Blossom have quite the beefy front line between a Zac and a Vlad and a Lulu. But it's not just Black Blossom that have the good front line. It's Caliber Esports as well. And, frontline is kind of scary if you're a Vladimir. It's kind of scary if you're a Yasuo. One problem I'm potentially seeing for Team Black Blossom is there isn't really that much of a squishy backline for like iTunes or Donald Trump to dive, and that's usually what the job of like a Yasuo or a Vladimir is to like one-shot the backline. They have so much mobility, it's impossible for the front line to stop them, and they just like kill everybody. But iTunes, there's not a lot of one-shot threat. He can get unhooked, or you can maybe get on Desire, and that's about it for people that he can one-shot. So we'll see what happens. We are loaded onto the Rift now. Teams are 5-pointing, trying to protect against invades. Jarl Carl, you seen anything interesting, anything piquing your interest right now?
I'm noticing the triple aftershock. It's pretty much the only keystone thing I'm noticing here on the side of Caliber Esports. They do have that on the jungler, which maybe indicates he's going to go for that tank build, but I mean, I don't know what other keystone you'd really go for anyway if you were going for a full EP build. So I would still expect at least Runic Echoes. I don't know. I think you just need more damage, like you were kind of saying, on Ginny here in the jungle. So I would expect to see that come through. Not a whole lot of else is catching my interest. I think it will be an on-hit Varus. We do have Grios Vale with the lethal tempo, so that's something to note. Also the exhaust on Pinna, a very safe choice. Hopefully able to exhaust the Syndra probably in team fights, or the Amumu even if he goes in, especially if it is that full AP Amumu. So I think pretty standard keystone and summoner choices across the board. Also a teleport advantage for iTunes in the mid. Hooked has that ignite up against the Vladimir with the teleport.
Yeah, and worth noting as well is Syndra should just have lane priority in that lane by the nature of the champions. Vlad is not very strong early. Having Vlad in your mid lane early on is generally a sign that you are going to wait a little while before looking to get aggressive. You're probably not going to be looking to invade the enemy's jungle. You're probably, you might even be on the back foot as far as invades go and have to give up some of your own camps. Maybe give up the first dragon, maybe give up the first herald, because Vlad really does need level 11 and his first item or two before he really can start to come online. But even then, you can, if you have to, you can fight with Vlad if you've got at least his ultimate level 1, but you need at least that. Fighting pre-6 with Vladimir is like the worst thing you could possibly do. He doesn't do anything. He doesn't bring power control, he doesn't bring setup, he doesn't bring damage, and speaking of damage, top lane, Trump is just putting in work here.
Yeah, the Donald doing pretty well for himself there. No Ignite to maybe pick up a kill on Engine, but still exerting a lot of dominance and just a lot of power there in the top lane, denying a few of those CS, although they are even up to this point. In the bot lane, Pinna playing with fire, doesn't even care about a dredge line maybe coming through. He's standing right in front of that Nautilus, and hook me, I dare you. It's going to go my way in the end. So nice push in the bot lane here for TBB. Dredge line does go a little bit wide, so that will be down for just a couple of seconds, as the junglers also seem to be going for most of a full clear here before they decide to pull up any ganks.
That's sort of the awkward thing about running Nautilus Ezreal bot lane is Nautilus is typically good with champions that can all in, and Ezreal doesn't have much all in threat, right? So what happens if Pinna gets hit by the dredge line? Not all that much. Ezreal doesn't do much damage early. Desire is probably not looking to try to all in. He's just trying to stay safe and farm and scale. So it's sort of counter synergy going on. Top side of the map, though, we might see a fight about to happen. Jinny taking Scuttle Cup away from Undertaker. Nice. Donald Trump has roamed down. I think Jinny's going to be okay.
Gets flipped in with that Q. There's the elastic slingshot over the wall. They might actually want to fight this a little bit more, deciding against it. Undertaker and the Donald walking themselves away, and nobody dies.
I'm surprised nobody died top side of the map or bot side of the map. There was a dredge line that landed bot lane in. Heals got burned from both carries, but everyone is still alive. And Pinna back to full HP thanks to those health pots ticking and the biscuits in his inventory. Few summoner spells burned, but nothing too crazy.
Yeah, the flashes are still up, right? So they kind of used all the utility summoners, and then everybody still has flash. So except for Raging Monk did use that. Didn't quite see what happened down there, unfortunately, but no summoner there for himself. A little bit of a disadvantage, but nothing too major. Doesn't actually have Hex Flash, though, so that's a little bit unfortunate for him, but he should be okay. In the long run, iTunes, proccing the Phase Rush, running away.
I just realized something. That's Arcane Comet Syndra. I don't like that. Electrocute is so good on Syndra, and if Hooked had Electrocute in that trade just now mid lane, ooh, would have been so juicy, so juicy. One of the most important things with Syndra when you're playing is managing your mana and managing the wave, because Syndra's mana costs are very high, and she has good wave clear, but only if you've got all of your abilities available. And if you spam everything to clear the wave, you are going to run out of the mana. The cool thing about taking Electrocute is that your trading pattern, you can proc that Electrocute relatively easily by just autoing, queuing, and autoing. You only have to use your Q, and you basically get... You're going to proc Arcane Comet or Electrocute either way, and either way you're only using your Q, so it's just so much more value. I love Electrocute on Syndra, such a good pick. Now, enough rambling about that. Bot side jungle getting a little bit interesting. Raging Monk might be in trouble here. He has got no flash.
Got no flash, and he's got a line of folks behind him. Desire coming forward. He might actually fight here. Raging Monk, not the decision I might have made. He's going to find himself in a world of hurt here. Raging Monk going to go down first blood in the pocket of Krios Vale, and not the engage I was going for. Maybe a little bit of miscommunication there. Thought Jinny might be a little bit closer. The support goes down.
I think he thought that Jinny was maybe a little bit closer, maybe looking to go for a flash, a bandage toss, or something of the like, but the rest of Caliber Esports, you said it right, they were not on the same page. And now, the first substantial lead, the first tangible lead starting to really go over here in favor of Team Black Blossom, but first kill of the game in favor of Black Blossom doesn't really tell the full story, because top lane as well, there has been a lead slowly manifesting itself also for Black Blossom in the form of a large CS gap between Donald Trump and Engine on this Maokai. That's not necessarily the end of the world for Caliber Esports, because a Maokai that doesn't have a ton of CS is still a Maokai. He's still going to be pretty tanky. Maokai is relatively forgiving as far as economy and items go. He's going to be tanky regardless, going to He's gonna have a cheap build regardless, but a free farming Yasuo is a very scary thing, right? Yasuo, very item reliant. Donald Trump gets his hands on his first couple items, gets a Phantom Dancer or a Static Shiv or an Infinity Edge, and suddenly he becomes very, very scary. You want to delay those items as long as you possibly can, and he is on track to get them sooner rather than later, and that is an excellent sign for Black Blossom.
Working toward that Blade of the Ruin King right now as we see him trading. Finds a sapling. He's going to probably find the worst end of that trade, yeah. Looks like it, but I would expect once he has that Blade of the Ruin King completed that he will become quite a scary Yasuo indeed, like you were just saying. The first recall has come through also for the bot laners. Krios Vale picking up the components of a Rage Blade. So it looks like he's not going to be going for Bork first, actually going to go for that Rage Blade first, which I'm a little bit surprised to see. I think that's somewhat non-standard, but in the end probably won't make a huge amount of difference for him there. As we see actually an all-in in the top lane. Engine going to get jumped on by Sir Donald Trump. Not sure who's winning this one actually. Donald Trump has to flash himself out, and he just gets smote down by Ginny walking in with that chilling smite, picking up the kill.
Not respecting the aftershock. Maokai is actually a pretty big lane bully. Engine, nice punish. Now looking at the dragon. Raging Monk, Desire trying to make something happen here. Black Blossom looking to take it, looking to secure it.
There is the engage. Raging Monk now has to get himself to safety. No flash once again, and he is just taken out again, finding himself on the wrong end of an arrow from this Varus. And that Varus is becoming quite scary now. 2-0 already. A lot of farm on his back. And they pick up the dragon.
He's not even on lethality, but that piercing arrow is still hitting like a truck. And now, like you said, you just hit the nail on the head. First dragon going over in favor of Black Blossom. It was a Cloud Dragon as well. Cloud Dragon early is maybe one of the more impactful dragons, especially when you're sitting on as many important ultimates as Team Black Blossom are, especially the Chain of Corruption, which is a super important ultimate for pushing a lead if you have one, and Curious Vale definitely does have a lead, so always being able to look for those engages is super, super important.
Absolutely. Up in the top lane, a little bit more trading. Sir Donald Trump just really wants to go for the kill. You have to think here in the top lane. It's kind of in the nature of playing Yasuo. You're wanting to get ahead. You're wanting to push your lead. He sees he has the CS lead, but it looks like he's just not quite able to fight InGen yet. I would expect once that Blade of the Ruin King comes through for that to change a little bit. But for right now, just the recurve bow, he's just not really able to get a whole lot done, even though he is level 8, has access to that ultimate. As to the bot laners now, both AD carries now have their ultimates available. So Chain of Corruption is now online for Krios Vale if he does want to throw that one out there and try to get a kill and push this lead, as we do see it come through right now. Actually, cast prediction coming through. Raging Monk going very low. There's the Wild Growth onto Pinda to keep himself alive by a bit more time. Heal has been burned, though. He's very low. The body block is doing him wonders as we flip up to the top lane. Sir Donald Trump has picked up that one kill. Desire got away in the bot. For now, the trading going back. Both AD carries very low on this one. Desire barely staying alive. Is that hail of arrows available for Krios Vale? Anything else to throw onto Desire? He is playing with fire here, the AD carry of Caliber, as the kills go in favor of Team Black Blossom.
You know what, Carl? 100 HP is 99 more than you need. Oh, speaking of play with fire, that chain of, or that, oh my god, the piercing arrow almost landing. Curious Vale eating a Q from Desire in return, a mystic shot doing so much damage. But you know what, Carl? 100 HP, that's 99 more than you need. And Team Black Blossom, they got 2 kills at the end of the day. Donald Trump picking up a solo kill top lane onto Engine, and bot lane Curious Vale and Pinna. It was close, but they won the 2 versus 2 and found another kill onto Raging Monk. This is separating into, or this is materializing into a gold gap between these teams. You're now seeing 2,500 gold separating Team Black Blossom and Team Caliber Esports. And this is especially concerning to me because I think Team Black Blossom have a scaling team. They have a Vlad mid lane who hasn't had pressure, shouldn't have pressure, and yet still, Caliber Esports, they are struggling to find a foothold anywhere on the map.
Absolutely true. And I want to point out on the item alert, it's a Rage Blade completed for this Varus. So that is now online. No Manamune even for Desire here. So this lead is just massive at this point by Krios Vale. He can pretty much take any fight. As long as he doesn't just get blown up immediately, he will be putting out a mountain of damage here, especially with Lulu to back him up. So jungle assistance needed desperately here for the bot lane of Caliber Esports. You know, I think it's soon or never on that bot lane assistance, because if it doesn't happen soon, we might see a 3v2 come through for the bot lane of TBB. So we'll have to watch out for that. Chain of Corruption is now back available. That Cloud Dragon we talked about earlier doing wonders for the bot lane and their ultimates. So all the ultimates are back available here, and there is that Chain of Corruption coming out. Krios Vale just blows up Raging Monk. He's taken out for the 4th time this game. Desire trying to get himself to safety as well. Gets slowed up by that exhaust. A couple more autos should do it. There is the Q going to land, and Krios Vale, one more auto attack does do the trick. Now 4-0 on this Varus.
Team Black Blossom, they are looking poised to continue their unstoppable death march. And now with Herald picked up, Undertaker's dropping a top lane. That turret is going to go so very, very low once this Herald manages to crash itself. And Injin looks like he might try to stay around to fight for the turret. He's probably going to die.
Going very low, going to get knocked up by multiple sources and just taken out. We flip over to the mid lane. iTunes fighting against Hooked. One more auto attack should do him in, and Hooked goes down. Not the fight he was looking for. Taken out in the mid lane. Flash is expended by both of those mid laners as the Herald now pushing in the top. Ginny moving up to try to defend.
Caliber Esports being turned into mincemeat here before our eyes. Last Whisper trying to, or Ginny Whisper trying to do what he can under the turret. Not quite going to get it done.
Not at all. Krios Vale in the bot lane going to get shut down as well. Got a little bit too close to the tower as teleport has been used to save Undertaker Kid. That is iTunes. There is just fighting coming in thick and fast across the map, and pretty much all in favor of Team Black Blossom. The AD carry did go down. Krios Vale does find himself in the death chamber, and
oh, the shutdown gold went to Raging Monk. No, no,
not what you want to see. Yeah, that feels really bad.
No, that could have been so big. That could have been so important. That's so much shutdown gold. Desire had gotten his hands on that. It may be a totally different game. Still, obviously, a shutdown kill is a shutdown kill. It's nice that that went over to Caliber, but iTunes won the 1v1 mid. Vlad is starting to come online. He's got a proto belt now. Next dragon has spawned. Team Black Blossom are in a very strong position to take it. iTunes looking for the backline here. We're going to see a fight to Hooks. Hooks might be caught out.
Look, the Chain of Corruption just came offline, or came online again, and there it is coming out. iTunes picks up the kill onto Hooked. He was not hooked, he was chained, but it doesn't make any difference. Taken out of this one. Dragon started up. Major items completed for all 3 carries of this team. No major completed items. The Man Immune, I guess, does actually count. So 1 major item completed there for Caliber Esports. They might look to go in here. Ginny looked to go in for a bit more, but no Curse of the Sad Mummy, and he's going to need a bit more than a bandage tossed on himself here. He is taken out. He needs some time in the Death Chamber. He goes down, and the Dragon goes in favor of TBB.
How much value have Team Black Blossom gotten out of that first Cloud Dragon so far? These Chains of Corruption have actually been so good from Curious Vale. All of Team Black Blossom right now, ridiculously far ahead. I'm struggling to see a way back in for Caliber Esports. I think they might outscale, but their one scaling win condition is Desire. And it is going to be a long time before he ends up coming online on this Ezreal, right? He's 0-2, he's down 30 CS, he has picked up his Mana Moon, so he's got that stacking, but he's got it stacking. As it sits in his inventory right now, doesn't do a lot for him. He's got to get that stacked into a Muramana, and on top of that, he's going to want other items as well. He's going to want his Sheen, maybe a Triforce, some other things coming through, right? Maybe even a Blade of the Ruin King. That's something a lot of Ezreals have been building lately, even a Death's Dance. But point being, you got to get some items. You got to get some gold. You got to get to the late game. And right now, it's all Team Black Blossom all day long. Mid lane, bot lane, top lane. Just Black Blossom taking everything. Taking Herald, taking Dragons. Ooh, Undertaker, bandage toss, not going to quite hit. I thought Ginny might find something there. I don't even know if they want to fight that, though. Donald Trump running down. It's actually Black Blossom engaging the fight.
iTunes going to go forward, misses that first wave of blood going out, but Donald Trump has arrived on the scene. Hook going to just wave goodbye, you have to think, to his junglers. Jenny Whippert actually doing a decent amount of damage. He gets taken out, though. Donald Trump under the tower. Last breath comes through. He's going to fall, I think, at the end of this. Yes, he will. The shutdown going in favor of Hook. Did expend his flash under the tower, so maybe a little bit over ear there by that top laner. The Luden's Echo now completed for the Syndra, but in the end, TBB wins the fight 2-1.
You know, I think you take those if you're Caliber. You got some shutdown gold on your Syndra. Hook's able to finish his Luden's Echo. Bot lane, Raging Monk and Desire trying to hold onto this turret.
Another Chain of Corruption coming out just under the turret, maybe just for a bit of poke even onto Desire. Oh, huge swaths of damage coming out there from Krios Vale. That's the empowered W on the 3 stacks of Blight from that Chain of Corruption. That's why he threw that down there. Almost picked up that kill. He might actually still pick it up. A nice arcane shift. I think the arrow missed actually from Krios Vale regardless, but only the heal keeping Desire alive there as Krios Vale and Pinna are just on a warpath here in the bot lane. They might find a managed toss, a flash away from a skill shot that was not very close to him, but you have to respect the respect given there as the teleport's been channeled as well. That's going to be the Yasuo coming in the bot lane. Stun goes wide from Hooked as an interesting series of events. Do favor TBB as the pick of the tower.
That was definitely an interesting series of events that keeps going. The last breath onto Ginny Whisper, forced to flash away. By the way, Curious Veil. Look at the teleport from behind here. Engine has arrived. Yeah.
Engine is here now. There's the ultimate. Everyone just wants to fight. Donald Trump gonna get knocked up here. There's the wild growth on him to knock everybody else up. He picks up the 1 kill under the tower. Raging Monk able to fight a little bit back, but Pinna now has to escape. Hooked as well, chasing forward. Krios Veil, he does a lot of damage. Look out, Hooked taken out of this one. Krios Veil still standing strong. Can he get the autos in? Here comes the elastic slingshot to try to buy a bit of time. Not gonna work out. Not able to peel his AD carry. Engine gonna fall as well. iTunes now onto Desire. Nothing he can do here. He's gonna fall. That's a double kill for the Zac, and it's an ace across the map. 5 for 3 in favor of TBB in a very messy fight.
Definitely a messy fight, but at the end of the day, Team Black Blossom do come out on top. They give up some shutdown yet again. But now we are looking at a Vladimir that is 4-0. iTunes really starting to become strong in a big way, becoming a massive threat for Caliber to deal with. It looks like maybe looking for the dive. Elastic Swick out under turret. Raging Monk in trouble.
Seems like a little bit of a regression here by TBB, but maybe just trying to get him off the tower. Who knows at this point? They certainly can afford to expend some cooldowns on just a little bit of poke under some towers. So they do have to back off here. Looking back at the items once again, Undertaker has completed the Spirit Visage, and the Blade of the Ruin King has already come through for Krios Veil. He's a full item ahead of everybody else on the map on the opposing team at least. Undertaker now might be sticking around a little bit too long. He should be okay. Has flash and the elastic slingshot, so yeah, he's going to get himself out as that mid lane tower now gets taken out by Krios Veil, and Pinna, they might have to fight their way out of this one though. There's the Chain of Corruption coming down, and Hook just taken out straight away. That's the Empowered W again coming through. It does % damage based on those blight stacks that were stacked from that Chain of Corruption. Really great ultimates from Krios Veil this game.
That is not a lethality virus. That is an on-hit virus, but the piercing arrows doing so much damage, like you said, with that blight passive. And now, Sir Donald Trump taking away the Rift Herald right out from under the noses of Caliber Esports, and Dragon spawning as well. Team Black Blossom, it's been a shaky last couple minutes, but they still have total control over the map. They got mid lane turret, they got Herald, they are going to most likely get third Dragon as well, unless Ginny can look for some sort of a steal here with a bandage toss over the wall, but it doesn't seem likely. Third Dragon going over. Team Black Blossom well on their way to a Dragon, so they have over a 10,000 gold lead. Carl, I am not seeing many options for Caliber Esports at this point.
I can't say I am either, Bane. I think the most likely way actually is probably Elder Dragon. If I actually had to, what's the most likely scenario, but that doesn't mean that it's likely. It's just the most likely. Ginny Whipper might be looking to go for an engage. Could see a 5-man Curse of the Sad Mummy here if they don't check this bush. They are walking around though, so I think the moment might be lost here. Sir Donald Trump gonna find him out. Will the bandage toss comes through? There is the engage by Undertaker Kid. Gonna be moving into this fight. They look to go in a little bit more. Krios Veil throwing in some arrows from across the side. There's the last breath going across. The support has been taken out, as well as that Amumu Engine trying to tank up, but he just can't stand for very long. Look at that attack speed coming through from Krios Veil. He's picking up that kill. iTunes in the backline as well has picked up 1 kill, and there is the stopwatch to buy some more time. Goes into that stasis. It's just Desire left. It's a 4-0. As TBV just clean up this fight. Undertaker Kid under the tower. He's going for more. The flash from Desire. It's not going to be enough. The auto attack does it, and he is taken out. It's an ace for Team Black Blossom. They summon the Herald in the mid lane, and they are on a warpath.
That was exactly the fight Team Black Blossom were looking for. A really nice wind wall from Trump in a corridor meant that Desire and Hooked had basically no way to help out their caught out front line. Ginny and Raging Monk dying way too quickly. Now mid lane inhibitor broken open. Chains of Corruption not done yet. Raging Monk is dead. He died so quick. That was like 4 auto attacks and Chains of Corruption. Now Herald crashing into first turret.
Another stun actually going to come across. There is the Curse of the Sad Mummy. That AD carry is going to go down. Krios Veil falling very quickly in this fight, and TBB have bitten off a little bit more than they can chew. True Shot Barrage with a field goal there in the middle. Sir Donald Trump trying maybe to fight back a little bit. Hook going to get exhausted. Pinna now trying to fight. Supportal combat coming through here for that Lulu, but they do decide to back themselves off. Krios Veil finds himself in the Death Chamber once again, just trying to go for a little bit too much there, but don't let that take away from the fight they had before.
Ooh, Undertaker a little bit far forward. Collapse coming through. Desire's got no way to hunt him down though. He should be just fine. Not quite enough damage to really threaten Undertaker at this point in the game.
Yeah, not really. That's a very tanky Zach, right? So he's going to go back to base and spend the more than 3,000 gold that he's got in his back pocket, 2,000 plus on Sir Donald Trump. So a lot of gold to be spent here, and a nice build actually coming through from Krios Vale. Decided not to go for more attack speed, just wants to go for the armor shred. The makings of a Mortal Reminder coming through. I think a very disciplined build. And one that is very interesting to see here against these multiple tanks. He just wants to be able to get through that front line even a little bit faster than he already does. I mean, we saw how fast Raging Monk died in that last fight, right? I mean, that was a chain of corruption and a couple of auto attacks coming through. So we'll see how it does work out for him. I like the build, though, in general for him. I think it is going to work out for them very shortly here, as I think they'll just need one more fight to win the game.
And Raging Monk, like, it's not that he's that squishy. He's got 130 armor. That's not nothing. That's actually a pretty significant amount, but it's nothing compared to a 9 and 3 3-item on hit Varus, or close to 3-item. Curious Vale is just so far ahead in this game, and now Caliber Esports stuck in their base. Mid lane inhibitor destroyed super minions that need to be pressured. Team Black Blossom are free to go on this Herald if they want to. They have pretty good vision control in the area. Maybe not as much as you'd actually want to see from a team that is as far ahead as they are. But you know what? Doesn't really matter at this point. Baron gonna get started up. Not a lot of options for Caliber as far as contesting this goes. Maybe as far as win conditions for Caliber Esports, you mentioned it before, maybe a 5-man Curse to the Sad Mummy. That might be what it takes. If Team Black Blossom plays smart, don't group up for it, don't allow it to happen. It could happen here.
There is the engage coming through. Ginny Whipper going to get jumped on once again with that elastic slingshot. Krios Vale has already picked up the Amumu as this fight is going to continue. Chains of corruption spreading through this fight. That's a second kill for the Varus. Make it 3. He has picked up 3. There's the elastic slingshot. Not sure what that interaction was as it goes over the wall. Desire going to have to get himself out as well. There's the shutdown going over the flash from iTunes over the wall. The flash as well. The flash is just coming through over this wall. They want to just get onto Caliber Esports, and it's right now they want to get on them. They picked up 3. They have lost Sir Donald Trump in the process, but Krios Vale is safe in the backline. Still has heal. He is still safe. His team is still safe. He has 12 kills. Gonna stay that way as Undertaker Kid does pick up one more kill, and they are on to the Nexus Tower. That first one will fall. It's just Ginny Whipper and Desire left to save the game. I don't think they can do it. They were already down 1-0 in this series. It's gonna be a 2-0 here for Team Black Blossom as they focus on to the Nexus. They're going to continue their undefeated streak through the Void group, trying to make it up into that next group. They're going to finish off the Nexus and go 2-0 in the series.
Unstoppable so far. Team Black Blossom, they are looking like potentially the strongest team. Not even potentially. I would say right now they are undeniably the strongest team in the Void group. They've got some teams left to play for sure, but they are the only team that is currently undefeated. So, I think, or maybe not, that might not be true actually, but they are the team that is undefeated with the most wins. So that counts for something, right?
It does. Definitely counts for something. We will maybe get a fact check on that at some point. But, some team that's 1-0, I don't think deserves to really be in the same group as Team Black Blossom so far. They've done really well for themselves in this league so far, winning every series pretty much in dominant fashion.
Yeah, looks like they are the only undefeated. It looks like they are the only undefeated in the Void group. So
solid fact check coming through here. Thank you so much for that one, Baymax. But yeah, just a really clean game. In this game, I think they just every game I've seen from them has been this dominant. They just have never really looked that taxed. I might be missing something out there, but they just look really, really dominant so far in Style Season 3.
Absolutely. What an exciting start to the season. I feel like so far I've only been able to watch mostly only casted Void games, but you know what? These games are pretty fun to watch. Lots of fireworks back and forth, lots of fighting, lots of bleeding. Carl, I want to apologize to you on air because some of these times my transitions have been really wonky. Not sure how to do it or what to say, but it's been crazy. A little bit unfortunate that Caliber Esports did arrive so late, so they unfortunately lost that first game. We aren't going to get to see what they would have done in a game 2. But I guess that's just the way the cookie crumbles sometimes, you know?
Yeah, just the way the cookie crumbled, and, I don't think there's a whole lot more to say about this game. Pretty unfortunate. It is just that one game today, so we apologize to everybody for that, but reminder that we will be back tomorrow evening. We have another nice matchup for you. Tomorrow evening, it will be the Disastrous Gang versus Flow Esports, and that's going to be coming at you at 10 p.m. Eastern. With Baymax on the call, along with Timmy Westside, one of our newer casters. So be sure to come support them tomorrow evening. And those two teams, of course, once again, 10 p.m. Eastern tomorrow night. And I can almost guarantee you that both teams will be there. So we should get a full best of 3, I would expect. Got a few more stats rolling through, courtesy of Axeman87. Also want to shout him out. He is our lovely host today. So rolling through a few of those stats if anybody is interested. The voice in our ears keeping us a little bit more calm here, filling us with delightful information when he desires to tell us it. But anyway, shout outs to him.
Honestly.
Shout outs to Baymax for sharing the desk with me tonight. But that is going to do it for our broadcast this evening. If you want to come banter with us and find more information about all things Style Esports, you can do so at the Discord link that is below the stream. You'll also find our website, our YouTube channel, and some music credits down there. So be sure to check that out if you do feel so inclined. But that's going to do it for us here. On behalf of myself, Baymax, and the aforementioned Axeman87, thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you tomorrow night. Good night.